Man.
Hello. Let me turn this down because I feel like there's a lot of yelling going on. Okay, so welcome back. I have taken a wee bit of a hiatus um, because I needed to take care of my health, and I had a I had a wee bit of a lot of things going on. Um, do you guys hear feedback? All right, so I wanted to take this time to tell my story. So we have a lot of new people. I have a lot of new people in the Fighting Chronic Pain with Andy group, and I would like to introduce myself formally. Hi, I'm Andy, um, and I welcome you wholeheartedly with open arms as you conquer your journey to chronic pain. First and foremost, I want you to know that you're not alone, okay? You may feel isolated a lot of the times, but you're not alone. There are a lot of people, an entire community that deals with what you deal with, me included, and will be there to encourage you every step of the way. So if you're just tuning in or you're a family member of someone with chronic pain, um, please let them know that the Fighter Method has a support system for them and just lead them in this direction so that we can help them conquer their chronic pain. So, I want to tell you a little bit about my story. It's a complex story, like most stories of people with chronic pain often are. Um, I was officially diagnosed with lupus SLE um, and fibromyalgia in early 2008. So I was stationed overseas, and I had been doing PT, and I had collapsed. And that was like the beginning of the decline in the fight of me getting diagnosed. Um, so leading up to my diagnosis, like most people who suffer from invisible diseases, I would go to my providers and I would tell them that there were certain things going on with my body. And they kind of didn't take that serious. And then there were tons of warning signs that there was something going on that wasn't just in my head. But as many of you know, when you're dealing with an invisible illness, it's often very difficult to find a provider that will pay attention to what it is that you're saying and actually hear you for what it is that you're saying. I'm no different. I've also gone through it. I'm still going through it. So after finally getting diagnosed, having issues with my kidneys and issues with my heart and randomly passing out, um, I began to try to figure out what worked for me. So in 2012, I began studying chronic pain disorders and autoimmune diseases because I wanted to understand exactly what my diagnosis meant and what my way forward would be. So I would have questions for these providers that were throwing all these big words at me. Um, but what I found is that I would come prepared with questions, and I would get the look every time I asked questions because it was almost as if they were they were not expecting me to ask questions about what the process is. I was supposed to just take it with a grain of salt and keep it moving. And for years, I had done that. I had taken it for face value. They said, take this miracle pill. It's gonna make you feel better. I would go to the pharmacy. I'd pick it up. I'd take it. I'd still feel like shit. Excuse my language. I still feel like absolute hot garbage. Um, and so what I found over the years is that mainstream therapies weren't the move for me. Okay. I noticed that I had become literally a zombie. They were throwing a pill at everything, and it was solving nothing. All it was doing was giving me this domino effect of other symptoms, and other systems of my body started to reject the mainstream therapies, right? Um, so I would take one thing to stop pain, but it would cause nausea and weight gain. And I would take something else for depression that would cause chronic joint pain or insomnia. So it was just like this mystery cocktail. And every provider that you see that's a specialty, they want to add something else to the mix, but none of them actually talk to each other, right? So you're going off the hopes that they're reading your records and they have your best interest in mind because, of course, they're doctors, right? They stayed at a Holiday Inn Express once, or maybe they actually went to med school, or maybe they went to a 1-week seminar. Who knows? But we expect the people that took the oath to protect us and to do no harm to actually do no harm. So having an invisible illness and a chronic pain disorder, it comes with a slew of things, right? It's not just one aspect of health. And I say that because if you're not the person who's going through it, you'll never really understand, but you can have empathy if you love someone who is going through it. And so I always tell people, please be kind, because although you cannot see our illness, it doesn't make it any less real. And we live a war in our bodies every day, right? We never know from day to day how we're going to wake up and feel, or if we're going to feel rested, or if we're even going to go to sleep. Hello. So that is one of the many complications of having an autoimmune issue and a chronic pain disorder. So the things that accompany my particular symptoms is I deal with insomnia. I deal with problems regulating my body temperature. And that's due to me having POTS. And so I have problems also controlling the blood flow back up to my heart. So if I change positions too quickly, or I'm just having a really off day, I'll end up on the floor, right? Or extremely dizzy, near collapse. And that's kind of one of the downsides of having a arsenal, if you will, of medical debacles going on in one body. I deal with anxiety and depression and chronic fatigue, and I have TMJ, so my jaw's always hurt, and my weight fluctuates. And as of late, as to why I had been gone for a while off of the social medias platform, I woke up, I went to bed, and I felt okay. And I woke up and I couldn't see out of my left eye. And as of right now, my vision is still not back in my left eye. And I have facial numbness on the left side and numbness and tingling in my hands. And it's difficult when you are stuck in a situation where you want to advocate for yourself and you are advocating for yourself, but the people who are supposed to be listening to you advocate for yourself and listen to what the symptoms are come across as dismissive, right? So what I found out during this vision outage, if you will, is there is a cause for my vision outage. And it's one of the many extra things that comes with having an autoimmune disease. And then in this particular case for me, it showed up in a form of a lesion on my frontal left lobe. And so I deal with chronic headaches, and we're working through that now to try to get some resolve to where I could go and see someone that could possibly help me, or that would help me feel a little bit better, at least get rid of the headache and maybe get my vision back. So I say all of that so that maybe you understand that if you're just walking by me and you look at me and I seem normal in whatever the sense of normal means, right? And I'm happy and I'm bubbly and it seems like everything is cool. I'm just bebopping around. On the inside, me being professional or not, and me, studying and understanding what's going on so that I can help other people, um, push all of that aside. The human factor is that there is no such thing as normal. You are right. Um, the human aspect is professional side or not, I struggle just like you guys. Um, and there are people that aren't kind. And I've been struggling a lot lately in just trying to feel better. So I understand flares come, they happen, they suck. They suck the life out of you. And it takes a lot to want to get up and rinse and repeat the cycle of just feeling icky. But I want you to know that you don't always have to feel icky. And there's a way out of the dark space. I'm the queen of faking that I'm fine. I understand you, girl. Well, thank you. Um, on the other side of the dark space is joy. And my advice to you is to find the joy even in your darkest moments, right? There's always someone that will listen and understand, or at least just listen, because your support system may not actually understand what you're going through, and you can't put it into words what you're going through in a way that would make them understand. But just know that you're not alone. And if you have no one else that you can talk to, you can always talk to me. I'm a message away, and I'll do what I can, even if it's just listening to you breathe or cry or whatever, because that's something that I appreciate the people in my support system doing for me. Um, I'm going to stay on and answer some questions. Does anyone have any questions about my journey so far and what's led me to being a holistic wellness practitioner? Or well, thank you. Thank you. And you'll never walk alone either. I am a woman of faith, and I know that although things suck a lot of the times, and the one thing I hate that people say is change your perspective. You can change your perspective and still be in a body that betrays you and still have very valid feelings and very valid gripes and complaints and pains. And it doesn't help when you're out and about and people don't believe you because they can't see it, or they assume that you're making it up. Or there's a lot of assumptions that come along with, or get over it. I hate that too. Absolutely. Or they like to flip it to something about them this one time at band camp. And I think a lot of that is a defense mechanism on their part, because they don't actually understand how they can help you or what they could do to make your journey easier or to make you feel better. Is it helpful? It is not helpful. The negative or the dismissive comments aren't helpful for someone who lives the life of a chronic pain disorder or lives the life of an autoimmune disease, and often a combo, because it's a trickling effect. You have one, you're bound to have the second and the third, and a couple little, um, chronic pain babies, if you will. Thank you. Something to all of this. My mother is fatal brain disorder. So I want you to know that you're never a burden. And if don't feel like you're a burden, you In doing so, you take away the power of allowing someone else to be there for you. I have my moments where I feel like I'm being a burden, or I don't want to call anybody and go, this is what I'm going through. Because so let's be real. This week and last week has been a struggle, right? And nobody's perfect, and everybody's support system, they try to do the best that they can with what they can do. And a lot of the times it is a disconnect that keeps them from being able to support you in the way that you need them to support you. But I'll keep like foot tapping. You have to advocate for yourself, and that's with your support system, your friends, your family, your loved ones, your doctors. You have to advocate, and you have to be specific on the things that you need, because they don't know what you need unless you tell them that you need it, and they don't know that you need help unless you tell them that you need help. And so I do a lot of journaling, and I do a lot of self-reflection, because sometimes you just don't want to feel like you're being the Debbie Downer. I suck at asking for help too. I suck at it. And then I bottle things up from time to time. And this last week, for me, has been eye-opening, no pun intended, because I have no real vision in my left eye. But it has been eye-opening for me in the aspect that it forced me to ask for help. Because normally my personality is I'll just power through it and I'll deal with it by myself. So I'm not bringing anybody else down. But this last week forced me to ask for help. And it forced me to ask for help from a lot of people. So how do you pull yourself out of the dark place when it shows up? Sometimes you have to process those emotions, and in order to do so, it's painful. Crying is healthy. It's cleansing for the soul, and I have done a lot of crying. But yeah, we're all Debbie Downers. We could just have a whole support group, Debbie Downers United. I think it's an education piece for the outside people that don't deal with, chronic pain or autoimmune issues. But back to how you could help someone, or how you can get yourself out of that dark space. If you're a caregiver of someone who is walking this chronic pain disorder journey, be open and receptive to hear what it is that they're saying, so that they can feel safe, because it sucks and it's very, very lonely. It's very lonely. And it's even lonelier when you feel like the people that are supposed to be your support system don't get it. So it's really a big education piece, and advocating for your wellness and your complete wellness in the sense of a holistic approach, because there's never going to be one pill that takes it away, or one pill that handles all of the symptoms. That is it's not a thing. And when it becomes a thing, that would make me very excited. But in order to live a life where you're not being held hostage to your body, it takes a comprehensive, holistic approach, right? And we're healing ourselves from the inside out. And part of that healing from the inside out is your mental health, and being able to process those emotions, because depression is real. And it's a domino effect again. Depression and anxiety causes pain. It causes pain and inflammation, and pain and inflammation is just it's a downward spiral from there. Those things cause flares. And so if you take the one and you combine it with the traditional or the pharmaceutical therapies, but you also combine your holistic approach with the therapy, because I'll never tell anyone to stop taking whatever. I that's not my job. It's not my scope of practice. But what I can do is I can help you figure out a plan that works for you with your traditional therapies and then the holistic therapies, and getting you on a better path to living a life where you're not being held hostage by your body. Um, what else? What other questions? Nothing? Well, okay. I'm going to just hang out a little bit and see if there's any other questions. If you have questions and you just don't want to ask them in this forum, you're right. Nobody understands your body better than you. And I wish more practitioners actually understood that, yes, they went to med school and yes, they have this fancy degree, but they don't live in my body. So they don't know how I feel. They just assume based off of textbook. You're welcome. I'm glad that I was able to help. And please, please, please don't be a stranger. Come back and visit more often. Um, I wish I had more practitioners um, that listened and understood that they don't get it because they don't live it. And like, it's as awful as it may seem, like my thought process is always, that was very passive, but if your wife or your children came to you with the same complaints that I'm coming to you with about their bodies, are you more receptive because it's your immediate circle than you would be because it's just somebody on the outside? Or do you treat your immediate circle the same way? It doesn't really get all the warm fuzzies looks from them, and I don't care, because at the end of the day, it's my body and I have life that I want to continue to live, and I want to be here to do a lot of things with a lot of people and make memories. But sometimes it's just hard. It's just hard. So thanks for hanging out with me for a little while. And, you know, I truly appreciate you guys and I appreciate the community. Um, but like I said, if you have questions and you just don't feel comfortable answering them in this forum or asking in this forum, the Fun Cup, stand by and I'll get you the Fun Cup of the day. Um, please reach out and just ask questions because I'm here. Um, I can't take it all away, but I could help you find comfort in all aspects of. Well, I'm glad. I hope that it is good for you. I am. Oh, okay. So pandas, yes. So pandas are my spirit animal. Pandas are playful and energetic and loving, but they're also like, stay away from my young. Well, thank you. It is terrifying. The eye thing is terrifying. And so I'll get back to the eye thing. But so pandas speak to me because they're so calm and they're chill. They like to eat snacks and play a little bit and have some naps. And I would love to eat snacks all day and take naps. So it spoke to me. So my eye, um, yes, I would be lying to you if I told you that I'm not terrified, because I am. I am terrified. I woke up in what I thought was going to be an awesome day, and it progressively just went downhill, and it just continued to go downhill. So the vision disturbances, and the headache, and the squeezing, and the difficulty hearing all on the left side. Um, it is frustrating and it's scary. And at this point, I just want to feel better. Tigers are your spirit animal? Okay. Um, the snacks, well, yes, snacks are thebomb.com, .org. But yeah, I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot, but I'm a fighter, and you guys are also all fighters. So we fight the good fight together, and we. Oh, I don't have a fun cup up here. Oh, because I didn't do. I'm sorry. Hmm? Can you get it? I didn't make my typical pre-session tea, but my lovely assistant is gonna go get a fun cup off the wall. So my fun cup is actually empty. So one of my super close friends, love her to death, Danny, gave me this cup. It's awesome. It has, oops, hold on. It has a panda in it. One of my favorite cups to drink tea out of if I'm only going to have a small cup of tea. So I would have thought I was having an aneurysm. Funny story, not funny, but true story is I did think, and I still do think that they need to probably figure this out sooner rather than later, because I've had a headache for a while. And so when they did their MRI imaging, they did find a spot. And so it's like when I particularly were talking to providers, the first question out their mouth is, well, is it hemorrhaging? Well, hell, how would I know? I'm not a neurosurgeon. So I can't climb into my brain and look at it myself, and you're looking at it. So how about you tell me if it's hemorrhaging? But I'm trying to keep my calm face on, because anger and frustration only leads to high blood pressure and more headaches, because high blood pressure leads to headaches. And I already have one. So yes. I don't know. I think maybe all of the doctors that have a underinflated appreciation for the education. Oh no, did I freeze? Yeah, that was a weird face, guys. But all of the providers that have an underinflated appreciation of their schooling should probably take some active listening classes and then be a little bit more empathetic. But you guys will see a lot from me. The next series that we're going to do, you're going to see some live cooking demos. We're going to talk about a lot of fun stuff here at the Fighter Method. So how do you keep your support system from wanting to, well, okay, so listen, I cannot keep my support system from wanting to snatch the practitioners, because if your support system is a good support system, they're going to be pissed, and rightfully so. And they're pissed because you're pissed, and they just want you to feel better. Now, if you got a nonchalant, circle, that's your support system, maybe having the conversation of the severity of what you're dealing with, to include the mental health aspect of it. Because often when people are struggling with mental health, should something happen to their loved ones, it's always, I didn't see that coming. However, sometimes asking the direct questions about, hey, what's going on, and actually being there to listen, then the outcome is never, I never saw that coming, or I didn't think that would happen. So if you're a caretaker, check in on your loved ones. If you are the loved one that is dealing with it, check in with your support system, because they're there to help you. Even if the only help they could give is an ear, that is leaps and bounds more, is better than you dealing with it or trying to cope on your own. And then on the flip side of that, what I've learned through my journey is that your support system goes through it with you too. And sometimes they don't know how to process the things that they're seeing happen to you in real time. And so we have to be aware and understanding on both sides of the fence that your support system is often frustrated because they don't know how to make you feel better. And they're frustrated because you're frustrated with your practitioners. So it's a giant circle, but it's a yin yang, if you will. So you got to meet in the middle. Um, what if your support system is going through the same kind of stuff? You guys can support each other. That's the thing. Um, there's never really a balance. It is just more of a mutual understanding that you both need each other. And sometimes you'll both be going through some really crappy situations at the same time. And even if that's just sitting on the couch and both y'all are crying and snotting, y'all are crying and snotting together versus crying and snotting alone. So sometimes just the company it speaks volumes. Anything else? No? Okay, well, I am sending you love and light and healing. How do you juggle the different specialists? Okay, so I can't juggle. And that is my current fight right now. Is that in advocating for myself, one of the things I said is, why is no one talking to each other? I take a lot of notes too. It's like, why is no one talking to each other? If you're referring me out to go see these people to do all of these things, and this provider will refer you to this provider who refers you to this provider, the domino effect, it is difficult to one keep up with it, and so then you're carrying around a tracker keeper of medication, that you're taking and who prescribed it to you and when, because your care team isn't actually a team, it's care individuals, but they don't communicate with each other. So yes, take lots of notes. I write everything down. Yes, you can request to record them just so that you can recall the conversations later, especially if you have to talk to a different provider. But what is interesting is the likelihood of them saying no is probably pretty likely, because a lot of the times they don't want to be caught telling you something that may or may not be all that helpful, right? So I do, during the appointments, after the appointments, I am taking notes because I want to be able to look back and go, on this day, this is what you told me. And while you're at these appointments, I like to end my appointments with recapping everything that they've told me. And then I go, do I have that all right? And they say yes or no. Because if they say yes and I leave that room, when I come back, if I'm having the same issues and they go, well, I never told you that, you're going to see a very angry panda. So the worst is when, yes, okay, yes, 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 yes. I don't like to be rushed either. Sometimes you just got to stand your ground. They can rush you. You don't have to necessarily leave the room at that time, because it is your right, and you're more than deserving of actually leaving that appointment and feeling like something was accomplished. You may not have had a cure, but at least you leave that appointment with having a better understanding of what the way ahead is. So my advice is, don't leave until you have an understanding of what your way ahead is. And that way ahead should not just be, pharmacological solutions. They should be able to go, this is where we're going, and I'm going to recheck at this amount of time at this point to see if it's helpful. It's not a quick fix and forget or a band-aid and hopefully I'll see you or not see you in 6 months because, whatever. And COVID has made it very, very, very difficult. Or on the flip side, it has made it very easy for providers to hide behind, we can only do phone visits because of COVID. Um, Anything else? No? So if you are not in the Fight Chronic Pain with Andy Facebook group, I would love to have you join the fighter family. Um, if you are and you're watching in the group, thank you for taking some time out of your day to hear a little bit about my journey. And I look forward to interacting with you guys um, very, very soon. Okay? Sending you light and love and some pain free days. Toodles.